the time that you gave in terms of when you were asked about running a marathon, and you said that you had run a 2-hour and 50-something marathon. It turned out that, of course, it was actually over 4 hours. You know, when I first heard that, I thought, well, he must have misspoke, or perhaps he didn't remember. But a lot of people, this keeps coming up. I mean, you are a fitness buff. You are a numbers guy.
It just keeps coming up. With whom?
With Nora O'Donnell.
I was going to say, in the newsroom, it just keeps coming up.
How did you make that mistake?
It was an honest mistake. I was 20 years old. I hurt my back when I was about 23 or 24, and I had to quit running. I herniated a disc in my back. So I just lost perspective on what normal times are. I ran an ordinary race, and I thought the answer I gave was an ordinary time. Obviously, it wasn't. It was 22 years ago. You know, I think what's happening here is the president doesn't have a positive story to tell. So they're trying to use this kind of rhetoric. My brother's been busting my chops ever since I said that, because he is an actual marathon runner. And he's been saying, are you crazy? That's crazy fast. Look, it was just an honest mistake.
Right. But remember, everybody was criticizing Al Gore when he said he invented the internet.
Yeah.
Look,
Oh, my gosh.
22 years ago.
I can't take this. I can't take this. This is amazing. First of all, they didn't look into Jeremiah Wright the first time. They haven't looked into Jeremiah Wright being bribed by the Obama administration. We have Jeremiah Wright saying on tape that's what happened. And they're not looking into that. Of course, his ties to Acorn, not worth. The composite girlfriend, not worth. How about the guy who, remember he said in his book, he dyed his skin because he was afraid of being African-American?
He saw the story in Look magazine, and Look had no record of it, neither did anybody else.
Nobody's printed that they could find. The grandma being a typical white person. Frank Marshall Davis, an avowed communist, not interesting. Solyndra, not interesting. Fast and Furious, oh, that's not scandal enough. The Black Panthers, can't look into that. The Muslim Brotherhood. The Selma lie. I love play the Selma lie because it just doesn't get any better than the Selma lie. the Selma lie. Yeah, thank you.
That wasn't the Selma lie.
I know that. The Selma lie is one of the most incredible things because it is so clearly correctable or verifiable because of his birth date, assuming that is his birthday.
What is he saying? What a that's
Listen to this.
There's some good craziness going on because they looked at each other and they decided, we know that in the world as it has been, it might not be possible for us to get together and have a child. But something stirring across the country because of what happened in Selma, Alabama, because some folks are willing to march across a bridge. And so they got together and Barack Obama Jr. was born.
I mean, you want to talk about, 22 years ago, he got a marathon time wrong. 22 years ago, he gets a marathon wrong. This guy knows so little about American history that he thinks that he was born because of a march that happened years after he was born.
Oh, they paid zero attention to that. None.
No attention. Don't worry about that one. He lied about cutting the deficit in half, lied about closing Gitmo, energy. Under my plan, it will necessarily skyrocket. He said he wants to bankrupt coal, but nobody's reporting that. He doesn't talk to his own cabinet. But we're not doing any nobody's talking about that one for some strange reason. How about his new party membership? Verified.
Yeah, completely. And that is a party so radical that they've denied ever since it came up that it was even possible that he ever belonged to the party, and now we have proof.
Unconstitutional military action in Libya. A growing number of troops in Africa. Nobody's asking what we're even doing there. Killing Americans without due process. Having a hit list on Americans. Rounding up Americans in the middle of the night without due process. Pushing down a little black girl as a kid. But nobody talks about that. The police acted stupidly. The Winston Churchill bus being sent back. No lobbyist lie. $4 a gallon gasoline. He stopped the Keystone Pipeline while giving money to Brazil to drill in places that were much deeper on the floor of the ocean that he said was just insane to drill here in the coast. Tens of billions of dollars in losses for GM, and they're not asking that. But did you hear that Paul Ryan
lied about his marathon time?
Oh my gosh.
He got it completely wrong. Completely wrong. He said he ran a sub 3 hour marathon.
Can we not get sidetracked from the real issue here?
Okay, which is
Romney had a dog on his car.
okay
in 1981.
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
I mean, what else?
We
has
can't
he
have
done?
a president like that.
I know.
You know what else he's done? I'll tell you what else he's done. He gave a guy a haircut once against his will.
Let me, Stu, listen to me.
Pinned
Listen
him
to
down,
me.
gave him a haircut.
That's
Listen to me.
verified.
Not-
Not,
Listen to me.
no, but some people said.
I got 3 words for you. His vice presidential candidate faked a marathon time.
That's significantly more than 3 words.
No.
No,
Listen to me. His vice presidential candidate faked his marathon time.
Okay. He counted right there. With
counted.
his
No, he
fingers.
did count with his fingers,
He
but that
counted.
was still not. It was not
No,
an
it
accurate
was just
count.
3.
You don't understand.
It was 3.
You don't understand what
He
I'm
needs
saying.
to learn. Maybe he needs to learn from the commander in chief.
Please,
Okay.
please.
All right.
Making products that we sell around the world, stamped with 3 proud words, made in the USA.
Made in the USA. Okay.
Made
made
in
in
the
And that's
U-
2.
SA.
I think it's made is 1.
Made
in is 2.
in
the is 3.
USA.
U, which stands for
United.
would be 4. S states America.
Would be-
That's 6 words.
Well, if you want to count the abbreviation as words.
But
fine.
even if you count it as only 1 word, it's still 4. Made in the USA. There's no way to make sense that it would be 3.
Okay. That's 3
Stu.
words for you, Stu.
Okay.
Mitt Romney tied a dog to the roof of his car in 81. Now you can focus on the 19. You know, 19. There's another word on it, but
There's way more than 3 words, though.
whatever.
I got 3 more words for you, Stu.
Okay.
You are a stinking racist pig.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for somebody finally saying those 3 words that we were all thinking.
Finally, because, I mean, it had to be said. It's just so blatantly clear to America.
I'd like to oppose the fact that I'm a racist or not. I don't think that's accurate, but really I want more hung up on the fact that that's way more than 3 words again.
No.
Okay, 3 words for you. You're wrong. Okay?
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Good.
All right.
Thank
Here's
you,
our
Glenn.
sponsor. Here's our sponsor. By the way, is it a disease that the president and the vice president both have where they can't? Because
Count?
it was 3 letters. I have 3 letters for you.
And it happens to be, as Barack says, a 3-letter word. Jobs. Jobs. Jobs.
4.
No, wait a minute. Whoa. This is interesting.
What?
We've been blaming Biden for this the whole time. He's quoting Obama there.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh, yeah.
Obama's the
Oh,
one
yeah.
doing this all the time. He's saying, as
right.
Barack says.
It's
He's
a 3-letter
Oh my
word.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
This is
And
Barack's
you know
problem.
what? It's you know what? It's a country of 57 states. Maybe there is a problem. Oh my gosh, think about this. Hold on. How much has he spent in the last year? In the last 260 some days?
Trillions.
Yeah. In the last 200 days, he spent $1 trillion. He says that he was going to cut our deficit in half. Maybe the only problem we have with Barack Obama is he can't count.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe.
That would explain almost every problem with
Almost
his administration.
Every problem. Hey, I'm going to save you a lot of money with universal health care.
Or how about this? Hey, Marxist principles will bring us way more prosperity than capitalist ones.
This all makes sense. I mean, seriously,
It's a matter of arithmetic. He can't count.
This would explain everything.
Yeah.
This is like the grand unifying theory.
It really would. If you say, look, I'm not going to have any communist in my cabinet and in my White House,
And you
And
only
then
have
you-
a few.
and you only have like 10.
Right, but you can't count.
You don't know. You've got.
You don't know.
You look at that number 10 and you're
Right.
like, it's got a 0 in it.
I'm not. Yeah.
Isn't that
Right.
That means none, right?
I will never put a lobbyist in my administration.
And then you have 17
dozens
in the first 2 weeks,
Right.
and you think, I've got none.
He can't count. He can't
Right.
tell the difference
Count.
between 0 and 17.
Like
Right.
my grandmother was just the typical white person. If you can't count, can you figure out what's typical and
no,
what's not?
almost
you can't.
definitely
No.
not.
No, you cannot.
The police acted stupidly. Let's have 4 beers.
I don't know. That one doesn't seem to fit the mold as well.
Here's our